The biggest wildfire in California history has burned across 230 square miles, and firefighters think it'll take until the end of the month to contain it completely. The Camp Fire is known to have killed 77 people, but a list of the missing grew through Sunday night to include nearly 1,300 names. That number has since dropped below 1,000, and it could fall further as duplicate names get cleared out and people call to report on who's been found.
We actually have investigators from my department as well as mutual aid from throughout California. They're taking information from the call center. They're taking information from the emails. They're taking information from our dispatch. We don't normally have a process to deal with this many unaccounted for individuals.
So we sent our elite team and our elite researchers, and we went and we found the ultimate truth seeker. Someone who has unbound, untold knowledge that needs to be spread, yes. According to the Oxford Dictionary, it's a person who is attempting to find or obtain something, a tenacious seeker of truth. Oh yes, we here have sent out the experts. We have gathered true intelligence, and we have invited him here on our show today on our docu-cop. Are you ready for the ultimate truth seeker and our expert, Gabe Zolna? Oh yes, here today. So Gabe, what is your explanation for all these missing people? Is the government, is it another 9/11 is an inside job or directed energy weapons used against us by a foreign nation? China right now. Notice how everything is going on in our current events. So okay, what the leading expert, the truth seeker, what knowledge do you have for us about this unnatural event?
You'll learn that short of a revolution, our country's soon going to be totally lost, if it isn't already. Got a question. Should we still call it a forest fire if the forests don't burn? Should we still call it a forest fire if the forests don't burn? I didn't make that up. That's actually flashed in this video. And you're going to hear what you need to hear. You're going to see photographs of total devastation. Yet again, should we still call it a forest fire if the forests don't burn? Houses right beside what's not left of homes that once existed are green. They're not burned. You're going to see cars that have totally been destroyed. Glass melted, tires melted, wheels melted. Totally unnatural. It doesn't happen in a real fire. You're going to hear how they've been setting up California since the early 70s. You don't want to hear this, don't listen. But like I said, folks, short of a revolution, our country's lost. We need a George Washington to lead the charge. This is insane. Not only the cars, but people as well. There's still an awful lot of people missing from the Paradise area. They too have been incinerated. Folks, look at the evidence. If the auto ignition point of asphalt is 600 degrees, why didn't the roads all ignite? How do you have melted aluminum laying on top of what appears to be rather pristine roads? Can anyone answer that question? I don't believe that they can, other than direct energy weapons were used. That's scary. But when you stop to think about it, they don't care who they kill. They don't care how many they kill. 9/11 is absolute clear proof of that. It had nothing to do with Saudis with box cutters. It had everything to do with our government. They even used direct energy weapons against the towers.
Now this particular image, I don't know how many people have seen this. Will probably shock you. This is the demise of Tower 1. We'll see it full speed right after this. But notice in this northwest corner we're watching, there's going to be a beam you see emerge from here, trailing dust. And I want you to watch it and watch what happens to it. Here it is. I think that's it there. Yeah, here's the beam right there, trailing dust. Just keep your eye on that beam and the dust that it's trailing. It runs out of material to turn into dust. There's other parts doing the same thing. And here's the Verizon building. We're going to later go down and look at ground level to see what landed. And all of these are trailing dust. All right, here it is at full speed. Let's see this. Now think of, all the different explanations for that. Did it start shooting dust ahead of its path to obscure it? And then realize why there was not a very big seismic signal. And that's the intersection where that stuff should have landed. There's the Verizon building. Read the body language. Hands at the side, arms folded, hands on the hip. They've just come out of their hiding places. And I think something's missing up here, like a building. Tower 1 had stood, this is building 6. Tower 1 had stood right next to building 6. Just unburned paper there and some aluminum cladding, and that's about it. Building 7, folks often think of as regular controlled demolition because they see it start to come down. What they don't see is the next stage. Here it starts to drop here, but look at all this, I call it lather, the thick froth that comes out. This is 1 second, these two frames are 1 second apart, approximately. And you can see this dust cloud hasn't advanced much more, but the stuff squirting out the windows is just tremendous, as though it had frothed up in the dust internally and just started pouring out the windows when the building appeared to be dropping. Building 7 stood for about 7 hours with this fumes coming out of it all afternoon before its final demise. And one more thing we're going to look at from different directions. This picture is looking at the toasted car park from there. And notice all the unburned paper. Why did just the vehicles appear to catch fire? I need to be careful. I don't want to call that fire. Appear to catch fire. We don't want to assume anything. Now watch this remaining part of Tower 1. This is 47 stories tall. I think that's about 700 feet tall up to there. These are the core columns remaining. I think actually that's the top of stairwell B where those guys survived. It just faints into dust. We'll see it one more time.
There are no words. You can see large pieces of the building falling. You can see the smoke rising. You can see a portion of the side of the building now just being covered on the right side as I look at it.
So while you're sitting on the seat, why don't you check the evidence? tell you something that you'll learn. World Trade Center paper doesn't burn. How could those buildings fall with a seismic impact so small? I know that something's wrong. 8 seconds and North Tower's gone. I'd tell you if I could, but you need to ask Judy Wood. Before you accuse someone, you better make sure you know how it was done. Wake up.
Notice anything strange? Do you notice anything in particular? Did you notice how somehow right there, multiple of them, even in the window right there, doesn't that look like a perfect foundation of where a house used to be? Unbelievable. Look at that, right? A perfect square of where a house used to be. I didn't know a fire just skipped everything around the area, just burned in a perfect a square like that, where the foundation of a house. Unbelievable. Here it is again. Look at that. Look at that right there. Look at corners and everything. Since when does a fire burn? And look at how it's perfectly spaced too, just across the street as where the house would be. Unbelievable. Look at, and then even in the background, don't worry, at the very end, even in the background, with that light, why you'll see the husk of that house. Look at this. Look at this right here. Look, what fire do you know burns in a square? What fire do you know? It doesn't burn anywhere else except where a foundation of where the house used to be. This is unprecedented. Look at this right here. Isn't this beyond the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen in your entire life? It's literally zapped out of existence. Unbelievable. Look at this too. Here we go. Look at this. Here's the other one. Look at this. Do you notice anything strange? You notice anything strange? Unbelievable. Do you notice anything strange? Oh, don't worry. You're going to see right here. Watch. Watch as soon as he turns right here. Look at this. What kind of fire do you know burns in a linear pattern? This is unbelievable. Look at this fire. Look at how it just burns in a literal, like, laser-like sequence. Can you literally see it now? Just look at that. It's literally like an S. It's literally a laser. Oh my God, look at these people. All you see is smoke. There's not even really fire spreading around everywhere like a it's in specific locations. This is unbelievable. Look at this linear flame right here. What you are witnessing is truly unprecedented. Look at this. Where's the fire? Where's the inferno? Where's the blaze? You know what I see? I barely see any fire. I barely see any blaze. I see a whole lot of smoke. I see a whole lot of destruction. I see a linear... Look at this. Look at this right here. This isn't like a fire break or anything. This isn't man-made or anything. Look at this. Look at this burn. Look at this. This is literally a parallel. Just as if it's cut in the earth right there before you're... Or is that just the one big width of the beam and we're just seeing both the edges right there? Look at the directed energy weapon right there. Look at this. Even look at the ending right here. Look at this. Oh, unbelievable. Look at this. Why is that house in the background completely nothing but a shell? Look at that house in the background. You're going to see it's nothing but a shell. It's unbelievable. Where's the fire? Where's the fire? Why is it already burnt to nothing? Why is it already a shell, a crisp of nothing? Why is there light still out there right now, but it's dark in specific air? Look, are we witnessing the directed energy weapons right there decimate this house? You can clearly see it's a husk, it's a shell, nothing's left. Look at that. Look at that. There is nothing of that house left but the face of that house. This is truly unprecedented. Look at these directed energy weapons. What more proof do you need?
All of the hard evidence, I mean hard scientific evidence that's now available on the internet shows you that the environment in California has been steadily set up via weather modification techniques to create drought conditions anywhere and everywhere they want to, and they've been doing it as we've all watched them do it. So that's the second pillar of their program, droughting the state, constantly droughting the state. Well, that's not too good for wildfire season, is it? Next, you've got the smart meter. Smart meters are everywhere now. Over the past 5 years, say, since these fires have really gone on steroids, it's fair to say that smart meters have also been introduced throughout communities all over the state. California is one of those states that whatever happens in the country, they first do it to California. It's the pace setter. You got smart meters popping up in communities all over that state. Wherever there's a smart meter, you've got a potential fire, because it's been proven by an ex-PG&E employee that PG&E knew that smart meters had a very high susceptibility to catching fire. But that's not the point. We know that. That's on the internet. The real point is that they've been weaponized. They have digital signatures that can be trained on by any kind of overhead drone, satellite, airliner that is set up to trigger that smart meter. Now, how is it being triggered? It could be triggered to start on fire. It could be triggered to push a whole house fire into place. It could be triggered in ways that I'm not at liberty to talk about right now because it's way beyond the scope of this interview. But let me just say this. Smart meters are a key cog in this machine. Key cog. And it's why those pictures that you see on our website, where you see an entire subdivision wiped out, every house is blown up, literally blown up. The surrounding trees, even those right next to the house, are in perfect shape. There's nothing wrong with them. Sidewalks, no scorching. Sure, the streets look like they were just paved. Some vehicles on the street aren't even touched. But the houses, each one has undergone an implosion, literally an implosion. They've been collapsed in on themselves. And in some cases, materials, items, household effects have been vaporized, gone. Toilets, tanks, showers, tubs, gone. Okay, this is not a fire. This is a 9/11 type event where they literally vaporize the material. The home is collapsed on itself. There's nothing there in some cases. There's no fire. There's no black charred wood or concrete blocks. It's just an implosion that collapses the house in on itself. And these houses, 10 of them, 20 of them, show up. They're just gone. Obviously not a wildfire, folks. Very sorry to say, not a wildfire. Most important question that the American people can ask themselves today is, how are these communities, how are these subdivisions, these neighborhoods being destroyed, if not by wildfire? If that question's not asked seriously and answered with a good answer very quickly, then I'm afraid to say that this American Republic is going to be in trouble.
In this lab, we've got the instruments to detect unknown chemicals. And let me explain this. Behind me, you see a mass spec instrument. The big one's called a mass spec time of flight instrument. It's got a flight tube, an actual vertical tube in a vacuum. And molecules are projected and focused into an ion beam in that tube, and then the time of their flight, so to speak, or the time it takes for them to travel through that tube is measured to determine their mass to charge ratio. All right, we've done the mass spec analysis and we have the results here. What did we find? Well, I'd like to draw your attention to the screen right now. This is what's called the TIC result. This is the total ion chromatogram, or TIC for short. It's the incineration that is the critical process here. Now, $1 million laboratory facility, CWC Labs, of course, where we're doing much of this research. We've got multiple mass spec instruments working on a triple quad mass spec right now. I appreciate your support. More we can really do the job that needs to be done, the job that the EPA has abandoned, the job the FDA has walked away from, the job the government's supposed to be doing, but they've become a joke. We the people have to do this, and I need your help to get it done.
One nation under fraud. Let's wash them all of blood, trading for priests of hell. Set free, the truth will tell. A king of greed reacts. The citizens attack. Without them you can't win.
Hey, good morning, Whit. You know, it seems like we just got done with last year's fire season here in California, which was nothing short of disastrous. And here we go again. Sadly, similar scenes. Nearly this entire subdivision burned down by the fire. Just a couple of homes back there left standing. The washer and dryer still smoldering in this home. 500 structures, most of which are homes, have been destroyed. You get up close to some of these cars, you see the force that it's required to blow some of these windows out. The metal melted, the aluminum melted as well, and you start to imagine just how frightening it must have been when these people got the call that they had to just flee their homes in a hurry to get away from these flames.
ABL has demonstrated all of the key technologies needed to bring a new generation of weaponry to warfighters. High-power weapon systems testing is the next step. All airframe modifications are complete, and the plane has logged over 500 flight hours of operational testing, involving over 100 sorties. The high-energy laser's power and runtime have been demonstrated, and components have been fully refurbished. Laser integration into the aircraft will be followed by activation and high-power lasing tests on the ground and in flight, leading to the shoot-down of a threat ballistic missile in 2009. This requires focusing the lethal beam at extended ranges, precisely on target, on a very short timeline. It is here that a speed-of-light-directed energy weapon provides unique advantages, countering the missile threat during its vulnerable boost phase, and providing track information and cueing to other elements. ABL is a force multiplier for the entire ballistic missile defense system. In 2007, ABL successfully demonstrated one of its most challenging tasks: illuminating, tracking, and propagating an atmospherically compensated beam against a distant target. The system demonstrated that it could illuminate the target with a low-power track illuminator laser, TIL. The return of the TIL beam off the target is then used to achieve a high-precision track and the rapid designation of an aim point for the high-power laser. Once precision track of the target is established, the beacon illuminator laser, or BIL, measures the wavefront distortion caused by the intervening atmosphere. Corrections are applied to the high-power beam optics, which in an actual engagement would result in more than lethal energy deposited on the target. Repeated multiple times with a substitute low-power laser at the same wavelength as the larger chemical laser, each engagement required only seconds. Had the high-power laser been on board, a missile threat would have been stopped cold, suffering catastrophic damage. With the high-power laser tested on the ground and the beam control and battle management systems tested in the air, ABL is now on a single high-power integration path, culminating in a missile shoot-down.
But then the strangest thing happened. This beam of sunlight came right in on us, like about 8 inches long, but it was clearly sunlight. It was all dirty and full of debris, and it looked like pepper was floating around in it, sort of. But it was sunlight, and I'm like amazed now. It's a 110-story building above us, and I'm looking up at the sun.
Still think directed energy weapons are a joke? Still living in the past? Haven't upgraded your mindset yet? Do you know in these photos we are being shown true sunlight? Yes, they are opening up true sunlight and just raining down directed energy weapons from the sun itself. We can witness the true power in these right here. You'll notice this common theme too in all the other directed energy. You'll see the blue sky, and then you'll see the glaring white heavens just opened up, raining down destruction. Notice in the Bible and all the other ancient literature, they describe something similar, even if you watch the History Channel with the ancient aliens and ancient astronaut theory. This totally fits an ancient astronaut theory. I mean, you have the true sunlight you are witnessing, that whiteness, that true raw power, dissolving the Twin Tower. Ultimate evidence is throughout all of this. You'll even notice that beam right there as it's being disintegrated before your very eyes. Unbelievable amount of disintegration. You can even see the force of the energy pushing down there on the left-hand side. Look at that. As soon as the white heavens open up, you can just see it disperse immediately. Look at this. Look. Whoa, man. Just a raw power. You can even see the energy trailing as soon. Unbelievable. Look at it as it pushes down. You can look at the cup. It's like a finger of God just pushing down on the tower, directly dissolving it as God pushes down his finger. Notice you can see the rest of the beam just swirling right there. Look as it dissolves the beam into nothingness. You can literally see this before your very eyes. It just disintegrates into nothing. You can see it right there, God's finger in the middle. You could see just the outside of the beam just pushing down. You can see it as it just it condenses, as they're saying, like an implosion. It just absorbs all that energy just down into it. And just, oh, you can just see it just take it down. It's just it concentrate like a magnifying glass. You know, you're just whoever's got the space ray. You're just God with a magnifying glass. You can see it even clearer here too as well in these photos. If you still don't believe, watch, you'll see God's finger, as I'm describing it, come down and turn these towers into dust. You see it right there. You see it there on the left-hand side. Unbelievable. Oh, yes, I have outlined it right here for you. If you still haven't seen it right there, you can see this invisible tornado of energy just go down the center of this. It just, as I described, God's finger just pushing down. Just the amount of force, just all those bodies, all that. No wonder why everybody died from the dust. Could you imagine everyone was just breathing in all those people? Just breathing in that huge tower, that huge building, that huge mass turned to dust. All those people absorbing all of that into their body. Oh my, you can see it just so clear right there. Just truly unbelievable what we're being witnessed, what we're being shown. You can even see that quarter piece of the tower right there in the dust, before it's taken. You see that right there in front of you before it just starts getting taken and pushed down into nothing. Just truly unbelievable. Just God's finger. Maybe that's what they call it, God's finger, where they're just erasing things from this earth with just true power, true energy, just unbelievableness. Like, we'll even witness it just multiple times. True. Look at there, right there in the front. You can just see that beam just being taken down into nothing. Unbelievable. Like, you can see the raw energy right here, even in this film right there in this, if you look hard enough. You could see it, it flashed in that last frame, in that one flame. In the last one frame, you can just see it, the shiningness of it, swing. And if you haven't seen it yet, this is more proof of directed energy weapons. Look at this. Look at this. Do you notice something strange? Do you notice something straight right there? Oh, right there in the tower. Oh, don't worry. I've zoomed in for you. And here's a sneak peek of the bottom as well, if you haven't seen it. Look, it all happens at once. Just like that car when you push it in, the lighter for your cigarettes or a can. If you've seen the can, that's from the Goofy movie, where Goofy, he puts the soup on the can with that to heat it up and they eat it. But look, it's the same effect right there. You'll see it just turn on and off. And then the tower is just gone as soon as it turns on. You'll see the tower just give away. And then as soon as it's done, because remember, it's space-directed and land-directed energy weapons. You saw, just in the very beginning of this video, all the types of directed energy. Athena, the goddess, look at that, God's finger. Athena's spear. You can just think about that, just Athena throwing down her spear and just decimating this tower. Unbelievable. Just advanced Athena, space-based Athena, just sitting on her throne, just throwing her, just incinerating spears. Look at that. Look at that. You'll watch it turn off too. You'll just see it go up and it disappears. Look at that. Look at that. It's just gone. Unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable to see this kind of. Look at that. It even goes in like a line. Look at that. Unbelievable. What is that? And it even cuts the other building in half. Notice as soon as that turns on like that, the other building just gives away immediately. Look at that. You can even see it's like a direct line too. As soon as it just gets superheated, the building. Man, imagine if we were really told the extreme truth about 9/11. Maybe we're only just scratching the surface. It's just taken 17 years for everything to just come out at once. You know, Gabe says he's been believing in directed energy weapons, but you've never really had anything to compare it to, so now you've had the Northern California so-called campfires, and you can do a comparison. Just imagine if we still had some of that debris from 9/11. We have some of that debris from... We have that multi-million-dollar lab. Mass spec. You can prove disintegration on an atomic level. Oh my gosh. Just picking up various types of just strange things. I wouldn't even know what to call it. Just strange chemicals. Strange readings. Unbelievable topographic amount of just knowledge. Who knows the mysteries of life we could solve with just understand what true sun energy is. Getting reading. Look, you could even see it from the bottom when it turns on. Oh my god, you could even see the white light too. The God light, the God white lights. Melting the tower as it comes down, as we give away for our final words. Unbelievable, because I told you, it's all about why they're doing it. You'll learn out why right now.
The Tubbs fire began in Northern California, and by the time the sun came up, over 1,000 homes were destroyed. Videos and photographs show how this so-called forest fire seemed to spare the wild and somehow jumped from house to house. CNN reported that the so-called forest fire jumped to the freeway. Hundreds of photographs show cars with melted trails of aluminum alloys from what must have been an unprecedented amount of power. The average forest fire burns at 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. Aluminum alloys will melt at temperatures between 1200 and 2000 degrees, but many of these cars were nowhere near a forest fire. Some cars were flipped over. The heat must have been intense. Not only was it able to melt aluminum alloy, but consistently, every home that caught fire was leveled to white, powdery ash in less than 12 hours. By October 31st, the Tubbs fire had destroyed 5,643 buildings. PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric. PG&E was found responsible for 16 of the fires, over $10 billion in damages. All of this while producing $1 billion a year in profits for the Rothschild Investment Group. PG&E warned the public that the fires will not just continue, but will grow larger every season. They warned their investors that future liability will force PG&E into bankruptcy. In June, utility officials told state lawmakers that they needed protection to survive the coming fire season. And on August 31st, California state legislature passed a utility bailout bill to protect PG&E, its shareholders, and Rothschild Investment. At sunrise on Thursday, November 8th, the Camp Fire wildfire began in California. It has all the same anomalies as the Tubbs fire and is already twice as devastating. Many people are asking the same question: is this an attack? In 2003, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld and General Richard Myers admit to the development of directed energy weapons and microwave technology. In 2017, Lockheed Martin shoots drones out of the sky with an invisible laser beam that burns them from the inside out. The technology exists. The evidence is there. But the motive? Perhaps it can be found in the United Nations Agenda 21, wherein certain areas of the country are proposed to be off limits to human use. It just so happens that these strange California fires seem to all be within the proposed no human use areas. New regulations and insurance policies are preventing homeowners from rebuilding. And meanwhile, they claim it is the new normal and are now claiming it is a phenomenon of global warming. One thing is for certain: the governor of California has already assured that the people will pay for all of the damages.
Hey, Brad. Yeah. Call DeLucci. Call DeLucci over here.
We had a engine crew discover a body, which turned out to be a human body, here at this address.
And then we'll
It is possible. It looks like there was a separate set. Law enforcement is on scene, and that's the information I got from them.
See, this is the untold part of directed untold energy. Did anybody else notice too that in all these photos that you see, you'll see all the green trees and you'll notice that half of them are green on top and brown on the bottom? Oh yes, that's just another comic coincidence. Just as all those people were incinerated on 9/11, you better believe that all these people right here were incinerated as well. It's truly unbelievable, and I'm not the only one who has the same feeling on this. I mean, let's think about this. All those trees, all that damaged property, no fire, no scorched marks or anything. So you better believe those people.
They too have been incinerated.